Alright everyone, welcome to what is planned to be the last hurrah for the HD 6850. Cheapaz Chips closes in 2 days, and I do not have a Firestrike or Vantage score yet. At the time of filming, the person ahead of me, who is Exaberries in Heaven, is still 100 points ahead, so I will not be rerunning Heaven. But yeah. We do want to run the other two, because specifically my Vantage score is very bad. So I want to get at least something done there. Like, I've already talked about this before, this card is not... It doesn't really have the potential to be a top 3 card. Since filming the last video, I've also gone out of the top 5 for Heaven. Because there's a new top score. Someone did actually break 3,000 points now, and I'm at 2,699. That is quite a difference. So, like, my card is not really capable to, just the core is not good enough. So yeah. So this is gonna be the thing that I start out with. I use Afterburner to set this, and then Tricks to keep expanding it, because like you can't go higher than 1300 on the memory in Afterburner, and also can't go higher than 1165 on the core in Afterburner, but Tricks can do this. So yeah, I need to reapply that now. Did I break it? No, it's still fine. Yeah, whatever. So, let's... Oh, I also noticed my USB stick's not plugged in. Let me fix that real quick. Now that shortcut works again. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, let's just run things. As always, when it comes to extreme overclocking like phase change videos, it is very loud, because the phase change is loud and the windows are open so that it gets like fresh air that works more effectively, because yeah, 30 degrees ambient, we cannot go below 50 by just having the windows closed. I even have like an extra fan in front of the phase change to like shuffle air into it. Anyway, I do actually think I want to start with Vantage, mostly because Firestrike has a lot of very strange problems with this card, where it just refuses to run sometimes, but Vantage has been mostly fine. So I'm gonna do Vantage first, and then move on to Firestrike. And yeah, and I just want to see if this works, because if it doesn't, then... slightly problematic, because I ran Heaven at higher clocks than this on both core and memory, but Vantage might be quite a lot heavier than Heaven. So I don't actually know if this is gonna be stable. I also don't know if it's gonna artifact all over the place. That doesn't immediately crash. I do have the oscilloscope hooked up. I can't... Like, I could film the thing, but I don't have it set up right now. And really, I'm only using it to see if it's, like... Because the card does this thing where it likes to black screen, but it doesn't actually crash. It's just no longer outputting the frame it's rendering, but it's still rendering the frames. And by looking at the oscilloscope, I can tell whether it's just black screening but still rendering, or if it's like black screening and properly crashed. Like, that's what I'm using the oscilloscope for right now, and I don't feel like setting up the camera for that. You can also tell... No, actually you can't, because the power monitoring is completely wrong. Let me fix that. There. If you see the GPU power going down suddenly, that's also essentially the same thing. It's just a lot less accurate than the oscilloscope. But if you see this drop to 0 watts on the GPU, then you can also tell that it's no longer running. Because this card does actually drop down to 0 watts power consumption in idle, because it's part of the vCore is fed from the PCI Express slot. But it looks pretty good here. No artifacts so far. Like, it is colder today than the last time I ran it. Not that much. It's 4 degrees colder. It's 30 degrees today. Was 34 when I ran it last time. Yeah, like, we're below 50 on the evaporator this time. That wasn't possible last time. Though I do expect the evaporator temp to steadily rise into like the minus 48 range as time goes on. Because the phase change kind of overshoots a little bit in the beginning, and then it like goes back up a little bit in temperature to like minus 50, minus 48, where it then stays. I also just realized that this is gonna be a very long video because Vantage takes a while to run. Like, that's why I usually run Firestrike as like my default, because it's quick and it's very similar to Vantage and like how it behaves. Well, actually it isn't. The CPU test is completely different, but like the graphics tests are like they're similar in how heavy they are. Just that the Vantage ones are way longer. Like, I think a Firestrike test takes like 30 seconds for test 1 and 2, and this is test 2, and we're like already at a minute, and it's not over. Let me check the backside of the card. Well, that's frozen over, right? But the insulation is doing a fine job. There is only very slight amounts of ice on the backside, so that's nice. Yeah, like, I mean, I also said this before. When I ran Heaven, I was planning to also run this and Firestrike, but I couldn't because the card started artifacting just idle on the desktop, which I presume is just like because moisture got somewhere where it shouldn't, like into a BGA, probably from the core. Because like the memory chips, like, they're actually quite warm. So the memory chips don't really freeze over, but the core does. Or like maybe some small resistor or capacitor got slightly shorted out by some water, and then that created problems. So I properly insulated the card for this one run. I should have done it way earlier. Alright, that's gonna be Vantage or first run, and that is a lot better than what I got before. That is, that's pretty good. I think my other best was like 16,000 or something. Let's check. Yeah, 16.3k. So this is a 19,370. Now this is not like top 3 that people are, I think I've seen like 22,000. But it's decent. It's okay. So let's submit this. I said submit this. Copy our link. So we have our validation screenshot. Yeah. Wait. Is this a problem? No, it's German for some reason, but like it's the time not consistent error. God damn it. Is this a problem? Because I think this may be a problem. I don't know what to do about that. Ah, shit, I might have to rerun this later. Because I don't know what to do about that. I can't... Yeah. Let's just take a screenshot. Oh, the score's invalid anyway. I didn't have hardware info running. We need to rerun this anyway. God damn it. Yeah, like... Also, like, my CPU-Z won't show the version it has. For some reason. Which is annoying, too, because I, like, need to have it check for updates every single time to show it's the newest one. Because otherwise I can't prove I'm actually using the CPU-Z version that they require. And hardware info is not having a good time. Alright, so yeah. Yeah, for Cheapaz you need this because you can't have clocks higher than 5 GHz. And that's how they check. Do we want to risk higher clocks right away? I think I want to risk higher clocks right away. So I knew that this was doing Heaven at 1320 and it did Heaven at 1140. So let's see if we can just rerun that. Let's just see if that just works. Then our score should also be like that. Maybe that's a 20k already. Still at minus 50, though we did idle for a while. So. Backside is freezing over a little bit now. Yeah, with minus 49 now. So it can't quite hold 50 in this ambient. It can do like down to minus 60 when the ambient is like really cool, but that's like winter benching. Also, that was at my parents' place, and they live in the countryside and not in the middle of a big city, where it's like colder anyway. Okay, so that's the first test done. So far so good. I'm not seeing any artifacting, which honestly, well actually, yeah. I got like one vantage run in the first session, and it also didn't artifact at all, where like Heaven was really bad, and Firestrike also. So I guess this just doesn't artifact, which is nice. Okay. Yep, that's a 20k. Nice. Is it gonna give us the error again? No, it's not. This time it only says, like, non-standard, because we only ran the GPU test. So that's cool. We have that. 3 people submitted a Vantage run in between those two. So that's nice. CPU-Z and GPU-Z. And take our screenshot. I'm slightly annoyed this always takes so long to boot up. Like, there's something with this Windows where, like, any application that, like, scans a lot of things while booting up just takes forever. Okay, that's CPU and memory, and now I need to check for new version to prove I'm using the newest version of CPU-Z. But anyway, so here's a screenshot. Did it take it properly? Yes, it did. So that's 20k for Vantage. Also, I think I'm not gonna bother closing these windows until I know the card is maxed out. So I don't actually know what to keep pushing past this point. Probably core, because that's the thing I'm lagging behind with. So let's try a bit more and see if that works. It did not work in Heaven, but Heaven's also like 4.5 minutes long. But admittedly this is 2, but it has like a pause in the middle that might help. But yeah, like core clock is where I lag behind, and also it's like way colder today. At least the evaporator. It was like minus 44 when I ran Heaven. It was a really hot day. Like this did straight up just not work the other day. It would like insta crash at this core clock. Maybe my mount was also just shit, because I remember this card was doing like 1165 before it had any mods on it in Firestrike. But that was also like on a pretty cold day, so like it might just be the temperature difference. Because like shoving more voltage into the core did not do anything last time. Like we're on at 1.35 volts. I ran it up to 1.45 and it did not do anything. It does scale with voltage, but it does scale more with just temperature, which is probably how people got like. I mean, I think I'm the only one with a phase change unit. I think the other people are like there's 1 or 2 that use liquid nitrogen, and then there's a bunch of people that use dry ice. The dry ice is supposedly somewhat similar to my phase change. It's a little bit better than my phase change. It can go like 5 to 10 degrees colder than this is right now. But at the same time, dry ice is like, first, very expensive to operate versus this thing. And second of all, dry ice, keeping the the temperature controlled, especially with a slow pot, is like really hard. And this is just, like, you can see how steady this temperature is. It only goes up slightly when the card's running. So, while dry ice might be slightly colder, you're not gonna get it as consistent as this. Unless you're, like, really good at dry ice, which I would ask why you not just use liquid nitrogen at that point. But yeah, there are people doing, like, 1300 core clock. Let's actually check this while this runs, because we're not going to have anything to do. So, HW bot. Cheapaz chips. There's exactly 2 days and 38 minutes left. And Heaven. Yeah, so I've been dethroned to 6th place. Shah 00750 broke 3,000 points and took 1st place from ASIC, and that's only dry ice. I thought this person used liquid nitrogen. Okay. So that's dry ice, and the card is doing 1340 core clock. And only 1300 memory. I'm actually outclocking that on memory right now. Yeah, like, I should be focusing on core clock then, because My score is not that great. But yeah, so apparently that was only dry ice, the 3,000 points in heaven, but let's look at Vantage. So Vantage, ASIC is still first place with 22,907, so we're about 3,000 points behind. His card is doing 1325 on the core and 1370 on the memory. Jesus Christ. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna be able to match that memory clock. He is also on dry ice. And his card is E-powered. Yeah. Where would I be with my current? I would also be in 6th place with my current score. But I might be able to actually catch Exaberries in this one. Not in heaven, but in this one. He's only 22,600. What's he running? 1235 core and 1200 memory. So my memory is significantly stronger, but his core is also like 100 megahertz ahead. Quick test to see the cold scaling. Oh no, this is a testing sub. Oh boy. So he's probably sandbagging. That or he hasn't run his card yet. He's also posted oscilloscope shots. And apparently he's running his card at 1.3 to 1.35, so like the same that we're doing, at least in this screenshot. Yeah, so like in Vantage I could actually be not that bad, because like 4th place is also still below 21k. Like we have some distance to go here. But this is definitely 6th place, because 6th place is below 20k. But then there's Exaberries at 20,600, and then Dr. Antonye, 20,800. Then it gets difficult, because the one above that is 22,100. I'm probably not going to be able to match that. But maybe if it cooperates, we can do 4th place. Anyway. Screenshot. And submit. Wait, that's the same one. I said copy. Only one person this time. I wonder what happens if I just change this to a 1. Okay. So that person was running a 1070. An i7 3820, what the hell is that? Okay, yeah, it does just do that. So this works, actually, surprisingly. So I know this did 1165 once. So let's see if it can do it again. That's not instantly dying. Usually when I say that, it dies immediately after I say that. Doesn't do it now, though. So that's nice. Maybe my mount was just trash last time, and this core is actually not that bad. Also, this turned off. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna spend some more time in the high 40s now. It's not gonna be able to hold minus 50 the entire time. Even though this is like a fairly low power card, it's just too hot. Like, just too hot with the ambient. Oh no! Okay, the core is pretty bad. 1160 then? Is this gonna come back? Yes, it does. Okay, let's do that. maybe a little bit more VCore is going to help. But like, it might help with those 5 megahertz. But I'm wondering if the memory can do, like, a lot more now, because usually, like, yeah, Vantage doesn't do this as much, but I would expect at least, like, some artifacting, or, like, some dropped frames, because 1320, like, this was literally the limit for Heaven. It could not go any higher than that. There was no hope of the memory passing higher than 1320, and this seems perfectly fine. So maybe the insulation, like, works a lot better than I thought, and maybe there's a chance we can match the 1370 that ASIC was doing. Maybe my mount just really was trash then, because like the memory chips are not actually the main problem with these cards. It's the memory controller, and that's in the GPU. So maybe my mount just really was trash, and it's doing better in, like, the memory controller is also better now because of that. Speaking of, what's the backside? Yeah. Good thing I put insulation on there. There is quite a lot of liquid on the backside now, because all the ice around the capacitors is melted. Yeah. That's a crash. I have a feeling this is just a temperature thing. Like, it was heating up, and then boom, unstable. I'm gonna do, like, just a tad more VCore and see if that helps. So, like, that. See if it works now. Oh, that was some slight screen artifacting right there. So I guess the memory chips are getting slightly warmer now. Or like the IMC is getting warmer. Like, I mean, I wasn't really expecting the car to do much better than non-heaven. So this is already a bonus what we're getting right now. Oh, come on. Yeah, like, that's what I said when that's what I meant when I said, like, more VCore just does not help. Admittedly, I didn't give it a lot of VCore, but it is more, and it did the exact same thing. Okay, so... let's bring it back to, like, 150. Because that's gonna make it pull less power on a bit colder, too. And... I mean, we already did 1150, so, like... let's see if there's one last little bit in there. Then see what the memory can do, and then just copy-paste those settings into Firestrike, and then this should be done. Like, it sounds simple, but this is gonna be like a... already half an hour in, this is probably gonna be like a 2-hour video. No, it might actually not be, but, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. How's the VRM? Not warm, but, like, not hot. Yeah, the installation's holding up great. That's nice. The memory chips are quite warm. Oh, it's still running. It's still running. It dropped a few frames, but it's still running. Okay, like just hold together, okay? Like we're almost done. Like I can see it fighting. This is probably the part where I should give an epilepsy warning. Like, it should be done with the test, like, just about now. Right? Like, I was pretty far into it. Man, this feels like forever. When are you done? Oh, no, it's... Okay, it's either done or it's crashed. I'm not sure. Oh, it reset. God damn it. Yeah, it crashed. Okay, so 1150 core. I'm not gonna waste any more time on this. We had a pass at 1150 core, and let's see if there's like any hope for the memory. And if there isn't, we're going straight to Firestrike. And then this video might actually be really short. Like, short for my standards. Could even rerun Heaven again, like, just because. It's not gonna help me place higher, but like... Yeah. I don't know. So far so good for the memory, but we did have a bunch of crashes in this test, so... Not too sure. Okay, we have a pass. And the score sucks. That is just worse. For whatever reason. Like, the clocks are higher. But the score is shit. I didn't see any dropped frames, so I have absolutely no idea why that is. So I'm gonna do a funny. I'm just gonna just see if that maybe there's more in the memory. If there isn't, I'm gonna see it just as, I don't know, like we're hitting a point where I didn't see any drop frames, but maybe it's just like error correcting in some way where it doesn't drop frames and we're losing performance that way. Like, it's not artifacting. Like, that's the weird thing. Like, yeah, ah. I'm not sure if that was the memory, though. Like, that doesn't look like a memory crash. Was it just the core? Also, is this gonna recover? I think it's not going to recover, so let's reset this. Man, it just takes forever to launch these programs. Alright, we still have all 16 lanes. That's good. Temperature sensors have no idea what's going on. Okay, afterburner is applied. So like, okay, I wanna know if that was the core just now. So I'm just gonna do 1370 mem, like A6 doing, and see if that just works. And if it does, then I'm putting the core back up. Okay, it's like it's not complaining for now. Like, it's still not gonna help us placing better, because it is just core limited. But, like, if the memory goes, like, way higher, then that's cool, I guess. You can get some extra score. It's not gonna be much, but, you know, having high memory clocks used to be my flex on all the Cheapaz comps up until now, and if I can outclock... Like, as far as I know, A6 running the highest memory clock. I haven't seen anyone higher than that, so if I can match or outclock that, then, yeah. It's just a typical me in Cheapaz competitions moment again. I got really good memory, and then everything else is shit. Like, it's just not even artifacting. I don't think I've ever had the memory on this card this high. So I guess the insulation really does work. Ah, it spoke too soon. Okay, yeah, so that was definitely the memory, because the Cord 1100 should run this just fine. Oh wait, it started back up. It resumed working. But now it's dead. Or not? It's... okay, yeah, it's trying, but we're not gonna let it do that. The score's gonna be shit. Oh, and the screen did this. Okay, so... memory's not gonna work this high. What were we at, like... honestly, let's just do 1320 again. Because we know that works. And we know it doesn't have, like, a bad score or anything. So let's just copy-paste these into Firestrike. Yeah, this is new. Now, like, part of the taskbar is, like, up top. Usually it just, like, skews the screen to the side, but it, like, also very slightly, like, put it down. So, like, part of the taskbar is, like, up there. That's interesting. So we want this. We want just graphics tests. And let's see if this works. Because Firestrike is a problem with this card. It loves to just, like, crash before even starting the workload. I don't know why it does that, but it loves doing it. Okay, at least it started running. With a weird screen thing. It's like this is a bit funny looking and a bit confusing when you want to, like, do things on screen. But thankfully, this is not an issue for making our score count, because when I take a screenshot, oh, it fixed itself. But yeah, like, when I take a screenshot, it does display the screen as it should. So, like, this is just a display output problem and not it's actually, like, making the picture wrong issue. But yeah, like, that kind of behavior is what I expect from high memory clocks. It just sort of does that. Yep, there we are again. But I gotta say, the card's really behaving, like, pretty well. It's having very little issues. Like, This card is... Yeah, it can definitely decide that it just really doesn't want to work right now, and then there's not really anything it can do about it other than just try again later. But I already got a Vantage score that I'm okay with. And that's a Firestrike score I'm okay with. Okay. That is, I think, actually a new high score. Despite it being at a lower core clock than what I had before. Yeah, so... That's open. So we need 2 CPU-Z. So let's get that. Yeah. Save it already. Actually, it's... Wait, why is it showing this? It's supposed to show that. And if I now take a screenshot, take a look at the screenshot, see? That one's fine. That one's as it's supposed to be. Like, we can see everything. Yeah. It's just the output that's, like, weird like this. And I'm, again, not gonna bother closing the thing. I am going to see if maybe, because it passed in Vantage, the score was just bad. Maybe it's just... It was just a fluke, and we can maybe get 4,300 on this. I think in Firestrike I'm not really that competitive, because I saw people with like 4,700 score. And we're not gonna get there. Like, we need, like, Firestrike seems to care mostly about core clocks. And this card just, it just does not have it. Oh, there's a 4,800 score now. At 1356 core. Yeah, like, yeah, but not gonna get there. Also with dry ice. At 4270, I am 6th place again. I'm gonna be in 6th place for everything. Yeah, like, current 6th place is 4107, so I'm gonna... Oh, the card crashed? It crashed. Okay, yeah. So more memory is not gonna work. Is it gonna recover? It probably isn't going to. Oh, no, it just recovered. Ah! Okay, no, never mind. We're rebooting anyway. Yeah, so... We pretty much have the scores at this point. There's one last thing I wanna try. Now, I've been running the core at 1.35 volts-ish. I know other people are running theirs at up to 1.5. I have not seen any scaling on my card, like past 1.35. But now I have the scores. Actually, let's rerun Heaven before I do that. Let's rerun Heaven with, like, the slightly more core that I had. Damn, it's not gonna boot up. But yeah, like, I am gonna do one last thing. I'm gonna try Vantage, because it should be, like, a good combination of heavy on the core and long. And I'm gonna put 1.5 volts V-core and just see if maybe there's just anything in the core, like, that's left to get. I don't think I'm gonna see any scaling, but, you know, maybe I missed out on... I don't know, maybe this card just, like, starts flying at 1.47 volts. And anything below is just trash. In that case, this video is gonna be a whole lot longer, but I do wanna check, because this is probably the last time that I'm gonna run this card, at least for Cheapaz. is okay. That should be heaven, right? Yes. Do I still have LOD on? It should still have LOD. Yeah, it has LOD. You can tell. Also, I just realized I didn't apply the clocks. I just did afterburner, but I need to. Do I have this saved? No. So like, yeah, that, because that did not work. Okay. For real this time. Right, this is just gonna do its 26 scenes. And then we can, like, 1.5 volts is not gonna blow up the core nor the VRM. I already ran it at that voltage with water cooling, so like, I just wanna see what happens. And it crashed. Why did it crash? Is it just like the temperature went back down from idling for a while? It's not gonna be that. Is Heaven actually heavier than Vantage? And I don't think so. Like, Heaven is pretty... What? Was that just a fluke? Let's see, if it does it again, then I guess my previous Heaven result is actually the maximum. Because, like... Yeah, actually, if I look at the waveform, this could actually be... I don't know, I didn't pay attention to the absolute values, but it's not significantly easier than the other tests. But like, I'm pretty sure if I would look at like the minimums, it's probably undershooting less than Firestrike and Vantage. It has... I'm gonna clear the statistics real quick. It's undershooting by 120 millivolts right now. Which is quite a lot, but like, remember, we're at like 1.37 volts-ish. That's like way higher than the 1.15 volts that I do my transit response testing at, so that's why the undershoot is like worse now. And like, the VPP is 230, which is also not great, if it was at 1.15 volts. Like, the testing I did was like, it has 145 VPP at 1.15 volts, and it should undershoot by like 60 millivolts. So like, setting the voltage, I pretty much doubled that. Like, it's running way better now, so I guess it really was just a fluke. How's the water situation? Yeah, there's definitely still water there. That's just actual clear ice. From the water, like... Yeah, just like when the card heats up and then cools back down and idle, like all that cycling just turns the outer layer of ice that's on the backside of the coin to that actually like solid see-through ice and not like the white sort of stuff that you see here. But like, the card's really like, it's behaving a lot better, and the insulation probably does help. Oh, that's the thing I missed. Yeah, I went out shopping earlier today, and I was just like, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, I only got groceries. I wanted to get I wanted to get some stuff, like, for uni and also some needed eraser, because I'm running out for more insulation. That's the thing I missed. Guess I'm going back out then. I don't wanna declare victory just yet, but this looks like we might have a pass. So 2700 score, quite possibly gonna happen. You know, unless it crashes on us now, which would be very not cool. Like, we're 46 now. You can't see how long the test is by just how high the temperature climbs. Yeah, maybe that's why the core clock was worse in heaven, because it just runs for so long that the core heats up and becomes unstable, because, like, again, these things seem to just scale with temperature way more than anything else. They're kind of like GTX 400 series, honestly. Like, even similar clocks. Okay, yeah, like, I mean, that's 15 points more, but I'll take it. Okay, make screenshot, save results. So that's 2714. Save. Okay, that's all my Cheapaz chips scores done, and it's been just about an hour. Okay. So that leaves the inevitable test of, hey, what happens if I just yeet vCore? Actually, we need GPU-Z again. Because, like, I know this is probably not gonna blow the card up, but, like, I have my scores now, so the card has done its job. Yeah, actually, the thing we might have problems with is, like, overcurrent protection. Because I had it trip. One more. Boom, 1.5. Okay. Oh. Okay. So that's what you get when you set 1.5 volts vCore on my card. Great. Thanks for telling me. So this is not gonna happen. Set it back down to, I don't know, what was it, 150? It crashed the card so bad, the system reset itself. Damn. Okay, so yeah. I was doing things right by running it at 1.35. And yeah, I guess that's really it. I have my scores. You know, for people that are just skipping to the end, I guess we can go through them again. So that's Fire Strike. That should be the highest score that I ever got out of this card. So that's decent. 1150 core. It's 15 megahertz lower than the peak core clock I got on this card. But the memory is way higher than what I got with that core. That could also be a thing. Like, if you run higher memory, it puts more load on the core, meaning you can run less core clock sometimes. But I think it's mostly due to temperature, because, again, right, it's even climbed up to like a 31-degree ambient right here. That is just a bit too high to be, like, good. So that's Fire Strike. That's the Vantage score, 20,225. Also, like, I'm pretty much in 6th place. Yeah, I'm gonna be in 6th place for literally every single stage, unless someone comes in and beats me. Which, I mean, there's 2 days left, and there's usually quite a lot of heavy benching going on in the last couple of days of Cheapaz, so things might happen. But pretty much all the high-level benchers have a score that's above me already, so I don't really know who should just come in, because, like, pretty much everyone has their scores already. Like, people might get better, but all the people that could beat me already have beaten me, I think, because they just have better cores. But yeah, so that's Vantage. And, well, the Heaven one is not in here, because that's in a separate file. That's, here. That just goes directly to HW boards, and it contains a screenshot. But it's a score of 2714. So, with that, yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for Cheapaz Chips round 1 with the HD 6850. Yeah, I mean, overall, Cheapaz is always fun. I kinda hope that this card would have been a bit more cooperative. I would have wished a bit more, you know, voltage scaling and mod scaling than just temperature. And also, it had a lot of issues. Just some of those were my doing, like setting 600 kilohertz switching frequency. That caused a lot of problems, and it took me way too long to realize. But also the entire driver chaos. Like, you can see, I don't have the Radeon settings thing. I need to use Radeon mod to, like, change things like the tessellation. Because the driver, this one, I know it says this one actually works, but that only goes for Windows 10. And very specific Windows 7 ISOs, which is not this one. To get the driver on this one, I need to actually, like, use the device manager and force install, like, this folder, which I extracted from the driver exe that has, like, these files in it. I need to force install these with device manager. Like, just legacy ATI AMD things. Well, there was talking about having the next Cheapaz Chips comp actually be a CPU comp and not a graphics card comp. I would be super up for that, because that's a thing that I have done basically nothing with, and I would love to get into. But in case it isn't, I really hope it's gonna be a 28 nanometer NVIDIA or AMD card next, because those are just so much more consistent and just better to work with. And also 28 nanometers like old enough now where it's like cheaply available, which it wasn't like a couple years ago. A couple years ago, 28 nanometer cards were still quite expensive, so these days they shouldn't be. They should be pretty cheap. But you know what do I know? HW Bot is gonna put it up to a vote when the next Cheapaz Chips happens in, like, I guess like 3 months ish. And yeah, I guess I've said everything. The video is sadly not 2 hours long, but I guess that's a large part because the card has behaved wonderfully for this last session. So there wasn't really much try and error involved. Also, I kinda like already did the session before where I ran very similar settings. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you for watching. Everyone who also was part of Cheapaz, thank you for competing. Thank you for beating me. And until the next one, goodbye.